positioning. Anything you want to say on that?
Yeah, sure. So I think there are sort of two parts to this. So the first one is, are you positioned in a market with demand in the first place? Because if there's no demand for the services that you're offering, then the question we were asked is to become an in-demand copywriter. So
Mm-hmm.
if the services you offer aren't in demand, you're not either. And hey, like some people want to create like a really innovative new service offering, and I don't want to be the person to say like no, don't do that. Like just as an example, like if someone said, okay, I want to write long form sales letters that are going to be mailed for like enterprise SaaS companies, which I have no idea if that exists. I don't think that there is demand or a market for that particularly. Could be wrong. Maybe that exists and there is demand for it. But if you wanted to do something like that, then you have to create all the demand yourself. And so
Mm-hmm.
that is a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. And if it's just you, as a freelancer, you might run out of money before you ever get that to take off. So that's the first part is, basically choosing a market where the demand already exists. The second part is that if demand exists, then that means that there's almost certainly competition. And so at that point, you have to make sure that you stand out from that competition. And obviously, there's some dynamics with supply and demand. So I think right now I think there are times where it feels like the demand massively outweighs the supply. And so maybe you don't have to be like have like all of your positioning together. Just the fact that you have experience doing X for companies like, whoever's talking to you, whatever prospect is
Mm-hmm.
talking to you, maybe that's enough. I imagine the space is going to grow more crowded over time. And so positioning becomes more important. And so it's not just about what services do you offer, but also, what's your point of view and what makes you different from the 5, 10, 20 other people who offer this as well. What
For
are your
sure.
thoughts?
Yeah, you covered a lot of it. So I guess to maybe add, like I would just go through my own kind of origin story, how I got started. So I positioned myself from the very beginning, which is contrary to what a lot of people do or advise. Like I did not go through any phase where I was a generalist. I was a SaaS copywriter before I even knew this was going to be a business, I was a SaaS copywriter. Um, and what I saw there was an opportunity in that it's kind of a blend of what you were talking about. So there was an established market in demand, but there wasn't really SaaS copywriters. So what I mean is SaaS companies were hiring copywriters who might have been B2B copywriters, B2B tech copywriters, generalist copywriters, but there wasn't really anyone saying like, I am a SaaS copywriter. Like, all I do is SaaS. In fact, I was bold and I think I might even still do it. I'm not sure, but I called myself the SaaS copywriter at the time. And what happened was, because no one was really doing that, I was like immediately ranked number one in Google search results for SaaS copywriter. Search volume wasn't huge, but I was one person and I still am. And so it was enough always.
Yeah.
I probably don't rank number one anymore because I've literally put no effort into it, but it doesn't matter. In the early days, it mattered though. And so there might be an opportunity where, um, like I'm sure this exists, but people are paying people like me and you to do onboarding emails for SaaS companies. That is a thing. But there might not be, well, I'm sure there is, but in some examples, there won't be someone who calls themselves, the SaaS onboarding email copywriter, right? And so that's where you can sort of differentiate by your title, and that will inspire, like we were talking about before, authority. But you're not having to create a new market, despite being, the first or maybe one of a few people who like make that claim. So I would look for opportunities like that. Because when I'm talking to people about positioning, they think they can just call themselves a SaaS copywriter and it's all going to work out like it did for me. But 7 years have passed since I've done that, and now there's tons of SaaS copywriters. If you go on LinkedIn, like there's no shortage of them. And
Yeah.
so like if I were starting my business today, that's what I'd be looking for. I'd be looking for the next opportunity. If it were in SaaS, I'd be going deeper and looking for a specific like type of deliverable or vertical within
Yep.
SaaS that I could focus on. And if it wasn't within SaaS, then I would be looking for the equivalent of what I did, which is which niches are buying copy, but no one is claiming that they are a copywriter focused on that niche. That's how I would approach it.
Yep, exactly. So I mean, honestly, it sounds like you just nailed positioning from the
Yeah,
get-go
that's
for
all
your
that had.
business
Yeah. Yeah. Like
because you
I was
picked,
early. Yeah.
yep. Yeah, you chose to offer services that were already in demand, but then you made yourself meaningfully differentiated from the
Yep.
other options.
Yep. So yeah, if you're listening to this and you see that we both call ourselves SaaS copywriters, that doesn't mean it's going to fly if you're just starting your business today, because there's a long line of them now.